With Season 2 of Windbreaker officially wrapped, what better way to celebrate than by ranking the strongest fighters of Furin High? From heavy-hitting brawlers to strategic powerhouses, Furin's roster has only gotten more stacked and more brutal with every episode. We've watched reputations get tested, rivalries erupt, and fists fly. Now it's time to see who really stands at the top. But before debates start flying in the comments, here are the parameters for this list. We're only ranking characters who've actually appeared in the anime so far, and we're judging them based on 3 key metrics. Notable feats in reputation, what have they accomplished, and how are they viewed by others? Battle prowess, their fighting style, skills, and effectiveness in real combat. And lastly, potential or growth, how much room they have to evolve based on what we've seen so far. This just won't be about who hits the hardest, it's about how much they've grown, what they bring to a fight, and the kind of presence that makes people take a step back. Starting off with Hayato Suo, a first-year student, vice captain of class 1-1, and the kind of fighter who turns calm into a weapon. Suo doesn't need to raise his voice or posture to intimidate. He carries himself with that quiet martial artist energy, measured, disciplined, and always 3 steps ahead. While most fighters in Windbreaker are explosive or emotionally charged, Suo is the exact opposite. He's composed to a fault, often smiling slightly even in the middle of a fight. And that isn't just for show, it's just a sign of how little he feels threatened. His fighting style leans heavily on palm strikes and close range encounters, almost like a hybrid of Aikido and traditional Kung Fu. You'll rarely see him swing wildly or get dragged into a brawl. He's more of a redirect and drop kind of fighter, using your own momentum against you. And it works. Across both seasons, no one's landed a clean hit on him. But what really makes Suo stand out is how much restraint he shows. Even when he's clearly capable of ending a fight quickly, he dials it back. Whether it's protecting classmates or handling KEEL's reckless attacks, he always fights with intention. A tier. Taiga Sugiura, a first-year student from class 1-1 and the kind of fighter who wears his heart on his knuckles. Sugiura's energy is impossible to miss. He's loud, emotional, and completely unfiltered. At first glance, he might come off as reckless, even a bit hot-headed, but beneath that wild exterior is someone deeply driven by his values. Sugiura believes in virtue, and more than anything, he wants to see what other people are really made of. That's why before any fight, he lets his opponent throw the first punch. Their opening move tells him everything he needs to know. And once that line's been crossed, Sugiura unleashes everything he's got. His fighting style is aggressive and raw, but it comes from a place of sincerity. He just wants to test himself, and in doing so, test the will of others. That mindset makes him both fearless and strangely respectful in battle. He may swing hard, but he never fights without a reason. Sugiura lives for the moment when fists collide and true intentions are revealed. B tier. Mitsuki Kiryu, a first-year student at Furin High and a member of the Tamon team within Bofurin. Stylish, soft-spoken, and impossibly composed, Kiryu is easily one of the most intriguing members of the first-year class. Kiryu's appearance turns heads right away, mid-length pink hair, neatly styled with a barrette, geometric patterns on his shirt, earrings, and a calm, almost effortless swagger. But beneath that polished look is someone with serious control, both emotionally and physically. He's known for his gentleness and near constant smile, rarely angry, rarely rattled. Kiryu brings an unusual sense of peace to a school built around conflict. In combat, Kiryu leans on judo and precise pressure point strikes. His blocks, takedowns, and counters are measured and powerful, each movement designed to end things quickly and cleanly. He doesn't waste energy, and he doesn't leave openings. That kind of precision is what makes him so effective. B tier. Kyotaro Shugishita, a first year at Furin High and another member of Bofurin's Tamon team. Reserved and blunt, Shugishita doesn't talk much, and when he does, it's usually short, to the point, and tinged with a little bit of attitude. You won't catch him showing off or cracking jokes. What makes Shugishita interesting is how naturally intimidating he is, even without raising his voice. There's no bravado, just cold, surgical violence when needed. Whether it's stepping up to defend his classmates or shutting down a threat mid-move, he gets results fast. His fighting style reflects that same efficiency. While we haven't seen an extensive breakdown of his techniques in the anime, it's clear he hits hard and holds nothing back. What he lacks in flash, he makes up for in raw power and decisive execution. Despite his cold demeanor, Shugishita is loyal. He might not say it outright, but he shows up for his crew when it counts. No questions, no hesitation. That quiet consistency makes him someone you'd rather have with you than against you. B tier. Haruka Sakura, first year at Furin High and the main character of Windbreaker. From the first episode, Sakura makes it clear he didn't come to Furin to make friends. He came to fight the strongest people he could find. One of the biggest things that defines Sakura's arc is change. Season 1 shows us someone trying to isolate himself out of principle. Season 2 shows him slowly letting people in because he starts to understand there's more to strength than just winning a fight. The way he begins to value connection while staying true to himself is what makes his growth so compelling. As for his fighting, Sakura is a full-on striker. He's aggressive, calculated, and incredibly durable. He takes hits without flinching and returns fire twice as hard. His fighting style blends brute force with sharp intuition, reading opponents quickly and adjusting mid-battle. We've seen him go up against powerful upperclassmen, rival gang leaders, and skilled first years, and every time he pushes himself harder. What makes Sakura dangerous is his mindset. Constant improvement, no shortcuts, and willingness to face anyone head-on. At this point in the anime, Sakura is still growing, still figuring out who he is outside of violence, but every step feels earned. A tier. Akihiro Nirei, a first year at Furin High and a familiar face in Class 1-1, just not when it comes to combat. The truth is, Nirei can't fight. He's not skilled, not strong, and when a serious clash breaks out, he's more likely to be caught in the crossfire than leading the charge. But despite that, Nirei's role within the team is far from useless. He's the emotional core of Class 1-1, supportive, reliable, and genuinely invested in the well-being of everyone around him. He's the kind of guy who's always checking in, trying to lift the mood, and making sure no one feels left behind. Still, when it comes to actual fighting ability, there's nothing there. No technique, no durability, no hidden ace. If Nirei steps into a fight, it's not because he's got a chance, it's because he cares enough to try anyway. D tier. Takashi Enomoto, a second-year student at Furin High and one of the vice captains serving under Grade Captain Ren Kaiji in Bofurin. Enomoto hits the screen with energy, loud, confident, and ready to assert himself as a vice captain. His voice carries authority, and he's quick to step up when things get chaotic. He's the type to challenge newcomers and make sure expectations are set right from the start. That swagger and attitude serve him well because he can back it up when it matters. In fight scenes, Enomoto moves with intent and aggression. He thrives on imposing pressure, pacing his attacks to test resolve. What really defines Enomoto is his presence as an upperclassman. He's got the intensity of someone who takes the role seriously, actively setting the tone for the younger students, whether it's backing up Kaji or holding the line himself. A tier. Yuto Kasumi stands out as the composed half of Ren Kaji's vice captains, although we still haven't really seen the full scope of visibility yet in the anime. B tier. Ren Kaji, the second-year grade captain at Furin High and a core member of the Tamon team. Kaji is usually off to the side, letting his vice captains do the talking. What sets him apart is how much he observes. Always listening, always calculating, and always ready to step in when it really counts. On the surface, he seems laid back, headphones in, lollipop in his mouth, hoodie under his uniform, but the second he runs out of candy or loses patience, that calm starts to crack. Kaji struggles with a short temper and he knows it. That inner conflict defines a lot of how he carries himself. He tries to stay composed, tries to be dependable, even when it's not easy for him. He didn't even want to be a grade captain at first. The idea of losing control around the people he's supposed to protect made him hesitate. In a fight, Kaji is fast, agile, and unpredictable. During the KEEL arc, we see him flipping across railings, dodging attacks mid-air, and turning the environment into a weapon. His reflexes and balance are top tier, and he knows how to frustrate his opponents into making mistakes. A tier. The Sakaki twins, Uryu and Seiryu, bring something different to the table. They're both fast, calculated, and eerily in sync. We don't get a ton of development on them as individuals, but together they operate almost like a single unit. That twin synergy is their edge, sharp movements, coordinated attacks, and a quiet confidence that makes them stand out without saying much. They're not the most emotionally layered characters in the series, but they don't need to be. Their precision speaks for them. It's clear they've trained together for years. Whether or not they get more screen time later, what we've seen already puts them on solid ground. A tier. Tasuko Tsubakino, a third year at Furin High and one of the 4 Heavenly Kings. As the leader of the Jikoku team, Tsubakino's reputation speaks for itself, and so does his style. Tsubakino's appearance is as sharp as his attitude. Painted nails, lipstick, choker, and heels. He stands out and he knows it. But that confidence didn't come easily. When he was younger, he tried to suppress his love for fashion and makeup to fit in with classmates. That started to change when he met an older couple who accepted him without judgment. He's loud when he needs to be, caring when it matters, and brutally honest when someone crosses the line. Tsubakino naturally steps into that older sibling role, especially with younger students still figuring themselves out. And when it's time to fight, he doesn't hold back. In the second half of season 2, we see him go head to head with the leader of Gravel, and it's one of the most cleanest, most technically sharp fights in the show. Tsubakino blends graceful movement with precision, striking with heels, dodging with perfect timing, and delivering counters that hit hard enough to end things fast. Stylish, efficient, and completely in control. S tier. Takumi Momose and Saku Mizuki are both third years at Furin High and members of the Four Heavenly Kings. While neither gets a major spotlight fight, their calm demeanor and respected positions suggest that they're more than just background fighters. Momose stands out for his composed leadership of the Tengoku unit, while Mizuki carries a sharp sense of style and quiet confidence. We haven't seen much of them in action, but their rank speaks volumes. S tier. Tomo Hiragi, a third year at Furin High, one of the Four Heavenly Kings, and the commander of the Tamon team, the strongest unit in Bofurin. Hiragi might look cool and in control, but the reality is distress is eating him alive. He's constantly dealing with the fallout of Furin's chaos, managing conflicts, and trying to keep everything from spiraling out of control. According to him, the gang's been giving him stomach aches for 3 years straight. He's high-strung, often frustrated, and definitely not a fan of delays or needless drama. Despite all his complaints, Hiragi's loyalty runs deep. We see it clearly during the Shishitoren arc, where he puts his personal history aside to face his old friend Kota Sako in a one-on-one fight. He wins, but instead of holding a grudge, he carries Sako out afterward. That moment says everything about his character. He's experienced, sharp, and dependable when it matters most. Even when the stress wears him down, he never walks away from what needs to be done. S tier. Jien Yanagita and Yorai Motomuro, both third years at Furin High and vice leaders of the Tamon team under Tomo Hiragi. The only time we really see them in action is briefly during episode 1 of season 1, where they jump in during the opening brawl. Outside of that, they haven't had any major dialogue or fights in the anime so far. Their roles are clearly important within the school, but right now there's not much to go beyond their rank and early introduction. A tier. Hajime Umemiya, the school leader and the soul of Bofurin. A third year at Furin High, Umemiya stands at the absolute top. From the moment he steps on screen, Umemiya radiates warmth, charisma, and unshakable confidence. He leads with kindness, trust, and belief that most people can change. That approach is exactly why so many students, even the toughest ones, follow him without question. Umemiya is the reason Furin isn't just another school full of delinquents. He built a place where protecting others matters more than just being strong. But make no mistake, when it's time to throw hands, Umemiya is still a monster. We haven't seen him in a full-scale serious fight, but the respect he commands, especially from other top fighters, says a lot. He's the type of leader who could crush you in a fight, but chooses to lift you up instead. That balance between overwhelming power and overwhelming compassion is exactly what makes him the strongest person in the room. SS tier. Now it's time to rank Bofurin as a whole. With everything we've seen, their leadership, teamwork, and overall impact, they're easily one of the most complete and dominant forces in the series so far. What makes this group stand out is the structure, the balance, and how they operate together. There's a clear chain of leadership, mutual respect across all years, and a strong sense of purpose behind what Furin represents. Whether it's the raw emotion of Class 1-1, the discipline of the Tamon team, or the experience of the Heavenly Kings, every part plays a role in making the whole work. Some characters have barely been explored, while others have already delivered impactful fights and major growth. But across the board, there's a shared code: protect the weak, stand firm, and never fight without reason. S tier. Hey there, looks like you've been caught in Dio Stand the World. While time's frozen, don't forget to leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe so you never miss any future content. Alright, time's up, back to the video. Moving into Shishitoren, we have Yukinari Arima, a 17-year-old powerhouse known for his brute strength, smug attitude, and heavy use of cologne. He's loud, extroverted, and proud of it, the kind of guy who makes sure you know he's in the room. At the start of the series, Arima leans fully into being a Shishitoren delinquent, chasing down middle schoolers, mocking teammates who lose, and throwing cheap shots mid-fight. He talks big, plays dirty, and clearly enjoys the chaos. His fight with Shugishita is short but telling. He tries to distract him with taunts and manages to land a hit, but it doesn't last. Shugishita slams him into the ground in one clean move, ending the fight instantly. It's a tough loss, and the fallout is public and brutal. There's a calmer energy to him afterward, but not much more development yet. He had an early moment, but whether he builds from that or fades out is still unclear. D tier. Kanuma Minoru, a 17-year-old member of Shishitoren and Aruma's closest friend, with his hair tied back and hoodie under his jumper, Kanuma tries to project a tougher image, but underneath that is someone anxious, emotional, and constantly on edge. At first glance, Kanuma fits right in with the rest of Shishitoren, smug, short-tempered, and quick to gang up on anyone weaker. In his match against Suo, Kanuma throws everything he has into the fight, but it's messy and desperate. Suo completely outclasses him, not just physically, but emotionally, breaking down Kanuma's immaturity and exposing how little empathy he has beyond Aruma. Kanuma becomes more frantic as the match slips away, biting his nails, panicking, and eventually losing in front of everyone. There's a brief shift afterward, less arrogance, more quiet, regret, but not much development beyond that. D tier. Joe Togami, the second in command of Shishitoren and one of its most respected fighters. Togami gives off the air of someone relaxed and even approachable, but don't let that fool you. He's sharp, deeply loyal, and has the skill and authority to keep one of the most notorious groups in line. He's a disciplined fighter with a foundation in kendo, blending clean technique with raw force. His stamina alone is a weapon, overwhelming opponents through sheer endurance and wearing them down until there's nothing left. That control and precision is what makes his fight with Sakura such a standout moment. It's a turning point for the arc and for Togami as a character. He may no longer be putting on a villain act, but his role hasn't softened. It's focused. He's still the hand that shapes Shishitoren's future, now with clarity and conviction. S tier. Hiroki Sawatari, a member of Shishitoren. We don't get much screen time with him, but what we do see paints a clear picture. He's reckless, antagonistic, and quick to escalate. He's present during the early turf conflict that kicks off the main feud, but after that his role stays pretty limited. F tier. Kota Sako, a third-year student and former friend of Tomo Hiragi. While his time on screen is short, it's meaningful. His relationship with Hiragi gives his moment in the story some emotional weight. We see them clash during the Bofurin versus Shishitoren conflict, and despite being on opposite sides, there's history and tension that comes through. He ends up defeated, but not discarded. Hiragi carries him out personally, showing him that their bonds run deeper than just gang rivalry. C tier. Choji Tomiyama, leader of Shishitoren, might be the smallest guy in the gang, but he casts one of the largest shadows. Behind the wide smile and playful tone is a fighter who clawed his way to the top. From the outside, Tomiyama doesn't seem like the kind of person who'd lead one of the most feared crews around, but make no mistake, his ambition runs deep. At his peak, he wasn't trying to just lead Shishitoren, he was trying to reshape it in his image. Anyone he saw as weak was cut out, but that desire for control came from something deeper, a hunger for freedom, admiration, and meaning. His loss to Umemiya was a turning point. After everything, Tomiyama didn't double down or lash out. He apologized, he reflected, and maybe most surprisingly of all, he sat down and shared a meal with the people he was trying to dominate. A tier. From the moment they entered the story, Shishitoren walked in like they owned the streets, loud, confident, and ready to fight. But when the battles kicked off, that attitude didn't hold up for long. One by one, they started realizing Bofurin wasn't the easy target they expected. A lot of them came in with bravado, but once the matches started, the tone shifted. You could see it even in the background characters, genuine shock at how outclassed they were. As a group, Shishitoren showed us what happens when a gang built on surface level power runs into one built on actual trust and strength. Some tried to rise to the challenge, others folded. Either way, they pushed the story forward by making Bofurin show what they really were made of. C tier. We'll rank KEEL as a whole. We are shown individual members. The arc itself was short, only lasting 2 episodes, and most of the characters were barely on screen. KEEL stands out more for their tactics than their personality. They operate like an extortion ring, using fear, numbers, and literal weapons to keep their members in check and their enemies overwhelmed. Their structure is rigid, their methods brutal, and their origin is still mostly a mystery. Compared to groups like Bofurin and Shishitoren, KEEL feels more like a system of control than a team with real loyalty. Their impact was brief, but the way they ran things and how easily they were dismantled says a lot. D tier. Out of all of the groups in WindBreaker, Roppo Ichiza might be the most grounded. It's a brotherhood shaped by responsibility, centered around protecting Kaisei Street, where they work and live. These guys aren't fighting for ego, they're fighting to keep their home safe. Founded by Kanji Nakamura, their strength comes from their tight coordination, mutual respect, and deep connection to their home turf Kaisei Street. Their security, support, and peacekeepers all rolled into one. helping with everything from escorting workers to cleaning the streets at dawn. But make no mistake, when it's time to fight, they don't back down. Each member is capable, measured, and clearly trained to fight in close quarters combat. They hold their own even when outnumbered, and Kanji sets the tone by always leading from the front. That level of trust and synchronicity gives them a very different kind of weight compared to the school-based crews. There's also a maturity in how they carry themselves. Most members work jobs outside of Roppo Ichiza. They're not students chasing glory, they're adults holding down responsibilities. Out of all the factions, they feel the most like a team that's figured out who they are and what they stand for. A tier. Gravel is a crew that wears its struggle on its sleeve, literally. No uniforms, no curated image, just worn clothes and a white cloth tied somewhere to show they belong. Born from desperation in the Tsunoba district, they didn't band together for reputation or turf, they did it to survive. Suzuri is their backbone, he's the reason Gravel exists, and the reason they keep pushing forward. His leadership is rooted in trust. When he moves, they move. When he stumbles, they worry, but they never question the path he puts them on. That kind of loyalty can't be faked, it's built over time through hardship. Gravel's style reflects that foundation. When they fight, it's often as a pack, charging in, holding enemies down, doing what needs to be done. They don't operate with the sharp precision of groups like Bofurin or Shishitoren, but they don't have to. Their strength is in their unity. They're scrappy, chaotic, and at times disorganized, but they never fold. C tier. We've only seen a glimpse of Noroshi in the anime, but even that was enough to shake things up. At the front of the group are Yamato Endo and Chika Takashi, both former Furin High students, now walking a very different path. Endo stands out immediately, calm, playful, and hard to read. He's the kind of fighter who seems to enjoy the moment a little too much. In episode 11, he effortlessly dodged attacks from 3 of the strongest characters without taking a single hit. That alone tells you how sharp he really is. Takashi, meanwhile, doesn't need much screen time to leave a mark. Though his appearance is short, the way the other characters talk about him says plenty. He's considered to be on the same level as Umemiya, and that alone places him among the strongest fighters in the entire series. The show hasn't revealed the full scope of his personality or fighting style yet, but it's clear he's not someone anyone underestimates. As a duo, Endo and Takashi give Noroshi a threatening presence with almost no build-up. Their goals aren't entirely clear, and neither are their limits, which makes them feel like a loaded gun the story hasn't fired yet. Endo S tier, Takashi SS tier. And that wraps up our rundown of every major group in WindBreaker so far. From the disciplined chaos of Bofurin to the survival instincts of Gravel, some lead with power, some with purpose, others just show up with everything they've got and figure it out from there. But what makes this series stand out is how each crew reflects a different way of surviving, growing, or trying to hold on to something that matters. Whether it's trust, pride, loyalty, or just a place to belong, each group brings its own beliefs, structures, and purpose to the story. Let me know in the comments below how you'd rank them, who's underrated, who's overhyped, and who do you think still has something to prove. Catch you in the next one.